Hey everybody, so I've decided to rebuild the shock on my CR250 project. The thing is a real mess. The bump rubber was basically destroyed, which is the main reason I just couldn't stand to look at it anymore. Plus the spring is really jacked and I want the thing to look really nice. I'm really going for that OEM total restoration look. So anyway, we're going to tear this thing apart, completely rebuild it. I've never done this before, so if you've never done one before, this is the perfect video for you because I like to help newbies, and I'm pretty handy in the shop, as you guys probably know, but I've never done a shock, but I can read a service manual, and I also know how to watch YouTube videos and make them. So anyway, let's get going. This will be a fun project. Going to restore a CR250 2002 model shock. This thing is going to get a complete rebuild, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and I'm going to give you an added benefit, which is, like my other two-stroke videos that I've done lately, I'm going to show you how I do this as a beginner, since I've never done it before. I thought it might be easier just to take this thing apart, take the spring off. I've seen that done on some YouTube videos, and so I thought I'd just release the spring right here with these two spring preload collars, and then take the spring off and then go to town cleaning the shock body. Hit that with a couple hammer blows. Yep. So the service manual recommends using a special tool, press this down and then extract it out. So we're gonna give that a little shot and see if I can make it work my way. I'm not sure if this is gonna help. It may be because the fluid's still in there, but on the service manual, this is the way they talked about doing it. So I'm just taking out the Schrader valve core there. That should relieve any gas that's in there. Let's see if it'll move. I don't think it's gonna. Oh, there it goes. All right, so it exposes this little clip ring here, this little clip ring, and that's what I have to get out next. Got these wee little screwdrivers. Let's see if I can get in there. I've seen this done a couple of ways. One with little picks, which I don't possess, and another with screwdrivers. So I'm gonna try the screwdriver way. That seems to be pretty straightforward. Not too much cussing on that one. They say take a suitable tool to get that out. It's funny how they call it a suitable tool. And I'm not sure if my little Schrader valve device, it's got threads on there. Let's see if it'll be too deep to get a grip. Hey, look at that. I can just get it out with my hand pretty much. This is actually a little tool that I use for bicycles, and fancy enough that it works for this as well. Let's see if it'll be friendly and come out. Huh. Yeah, it's a little deformed. So they show this deformation part as kind of an indicator of the condition, and it doesn't look, honestly, as bad as I expected. It doesn't look terrible. No metal in there, which I have seen on some. It's not that bad. So next part is going to be taking off this adjuster and then draining the fluid. So I'm not sure the size of that, but I know one thing that fits it. That's this. And I gotta tell you, the crescent wrench is an underrated tool. I think they're freaking awesome. Okay, it's loose now, and from what I'm reading, that's going to throw off some fluid also. So I'm going to take it out of the vise and drop that fluid. All right, so that adjuster's out. Next part is going to be taking out this main shaft, the piston shaft itself, which kind of looks a little bit challenging from what I've been reading. So hopefully it's not going to be too unkind to me. We'll see. So you take some drift pins and put them in here to knock this piece off, which is a little bit odd to me, but you know, it seems like there should be a tool for that. There's a tool for everything else, so why not that one? But there isn't, so we're just going to take drift pin and push it up. Sweet. So the folks that I've seen have done this a couple different ways. Some with zip ties, some with a piece of tape. Seemed like a zip tie made better sense to me. There's a tool that is made for this part, and I don't have that tool, so we're going to see if we can improvise. So I don't have the right tool, so I'm improvising. This is a piece of oak that I used earlier to take my spring off, and what you need for something like this is something broad and that won't mar the aluminum face of this thing. So this one has a nice long, it's a nice long stick, so I can get a good vertical hit on it instead of like angling it like this. So I think it's gonna work. Let's try. Oh, it's moving. Cool, it's working. But you only have to get this thing down far enough to expose this collar, which I think I've got it. Yep. So the next step, now that I've gotten that thing down, is to get the circlip out, and it is very similar looking to the one that I used at the end of the spring. So a little bit harder to get to be honest, but let's hope that my little screwdriver technique that I used before can be used to good effect on this one as well. Looks like I can get under there. Let's see if I can get that ring out. Like a surgeon. Now the shaft is supposed to come up, but it does look like it's a bit of a bitch. A little movement there. It's moved again, so this little cap is coming up. So the next thing I'm going to try to do is get this shock body out of here, and it's funny because I've seen this done a few different ways, and all of them look barbaric. So I guess that's the way they do it. But this is what I'm going to try, is give it a little motivation with a fastener. And it's coming. I can feel it moving. Something's happening. From what I've been reading, this can sometimes be a big, nasty mess. So I think I'm going to take this off and go dispose of this fluid properly. Starting to break the seal up. Whoa. Whoa, some gross little juice getting ready to come out now. A few more whacks. Oh, I'm curious to see something real quick, and that is if this thing has been serviced. So I'm going to go put this in a place where it can drain a little bit more. This piston does not look bad. The next step is to grind down this cap, or to take it off, and that is something that I'm going to have to be real careful with. I don't see any grind marks on the top like this thing has been serviced before. So the next step on this thing is to get this nut off. And you know, I loosened it and it came off pretty easy, but you know, it's peened on there, so I gotta do it the way that the book says. So I'm snugging it up, reveal these threads, and I've seen some creative ways of protecting the valving. The most creative was one that Cameron Niamela did, which was a condom, and I'm a married man, so I don't have any of those. So I took something else and covered it up with basically one of these types of gloves. And this one is not exactly the same. It's a more of a surgical glove, but I think it's going to work. And I thought his idea was actually pretty good. So we're going to cut into that and grind on that nut. So the service manual says to go at a 30 degree and then a 45 degree to reduce this down to about a 10 millimeter outside diameter for this damper rod. So it's not going to be easy, I don't think. That's hardened steel, and my guess is it's not going to be easy to file. I've never done this before, so we'll see what happens. Amazing. I really thought that was gonna be the hardest part of this whole job. Not too bad. So that actually worked out pretty good. I'm pretty stoked. So the next step is to remove this valve core out, or this valve stack out. And I am going to use a technique that I've seen a lot of people use, which is put a screwdriver there, just pull the whole assembly out as one piece and keep it all together. Okay, so instead of using a screwdriver, I'm using this this rod that I found. It's something from my go-kart. So next, this rod guide. I have no idea if I'm doing this right, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just because there might have been some slime from grinding down that damper rod end. I'm going to throw just a little WD on there. Can't hurt. Cool. All right. So I don't need this anymore. So this is the piece, this is the offending part right there. This is the thing I've been dying to get rid of. Look at how gross that thing is. It's all cracked and ruined. I cannot wait to replace that with something new. That thing looks bad. Finally, the bottom cup. So that's really it. These are all the parts. They're off now. Now I'm gonna take this spring, strip it down, and I'm gonna end up doing a Cerakote on it. I talked to Cerakote and they told me application. They said absolutely, it's not too hard to use on this material, which I was thinking it might crack if it was on a spring, but they said no. So I've used a lot of these aircraft style strippers, and to me this is the best stuff you can get, Jasco, and it's not even easy to find, but it is excellent. One thing too, don't be a fool, always use these gloves, and I have protective eyewear on too that you can't really see, but I'm already getting some good results with this stuff, just ripping through that. I just barely started. I scrubbed on this for a while, and that stuff that was on there was pretty firm. Just it gets kind of loaded with the paint over time. That's kind of normal, but anyway, it took a long time to scrub it down, but now I'm going to hose it off and then go over it with a piece of sandpaper and finish it up, and after that I can paint it. So check that out, man. A lot of sanding and a lot of stripping, but it turned out really good. I think that's going to be just great. That is the spring before Cerakote. Looks pretty kick-ass. Hey everybody, so I'm about to do the Cerakote on the spring, but this is a good time I think to end this first portion. This video got really long, so I've actually shot the beginning and the end, but it ended up being like an hour, and it's just too much. So I decided to split it into like a disassembly video and an assembly video. So this is going to be the end of the disassembly portion. And we're basically at the point where I'm going to Cerakote the spring. That's going to be done, and then when you come back and you see the assembly video, the Cerakote will be finished and the spring will be ready to install on the shock body itself, and we're going to put this thing together and finish the job. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do enjoy my videos, I know I go into a lot of detail, but I appreciate subscribers. So if you subscribe, the button's down below. You can also like the video. That's always appreciated. YouTube metrics appreciate clicks and likes and views, so the more of those I get, the better. So if you keep on sending those clicks and likes and subscribes, then I'll keep making videos. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope you have a nice time in your shop. Look at that. Like butter. Looks brand new. Ugh. And finish the job. So this is the end of video 1, part 1, the disassembly. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you scratch your forehead when your door shuts.
I hope you
enjoyed it.